This is Gary Jordan for Natural Law for North America, and lately I've been doing a lot of research, reading and stuff on a whole bunch of stuff. So I haven't been making videos, but I want to discuss something that's come to my attention. Um, there's a man named calling himself M1 Mitrostino, apparently worked with Swicindo. And they have made a deal last year that apparently is set up to where the old paradigm, the old social economic structure is supposed to collapse. And Syndicate to Syndicate Courier's analysis of his public address announcement of the this repayment, this whole scheme, is really this whole system. It's basically to replace the old. The old economic social system has been replaced, and over time and steps and phases, it will probably we'll see more and more of it. And there's supposed to be a payment for every man, woman, and child, non-corporate, non-commercial payment of $1,200 a month, stipend, $600 for adult, $600 for child, and access to a trust account of $6 million per every person on the planet. He supposedly has the assets. Whether he can access them, that's something I don't know, and there's a lot of other details that I really don't know. But supposedly on this coming August, I believe it's the 17th, the world government, in a separate part of this thing, have set up that they're supposed to either cooperate or they're out, kind of thing. So we'll see what happens. But in the address that Syndicate Courier analyzed, he pointed out that he mentioned demons, jinns, and angels and devils were part of the UN. It's like, what? These are beings that most of us, and those are the main ones. We're not talking about the pixies, gnomes, elves, and other creatures of a similar nature in other traditions. They're just the main ones. And what Cindy pointed out was about the demons, about how they feed off of our negative feelings, our hate, our greed, our violence. And it goes out, particularly what we're not conscious of, we don't process, we don't transform, it goes into the morphic resonance field. Barbara Hancock calls the fourth dimension, the mental sphere. And they're very dense, very negative, and they feed off it. And when I was listening to her analysis this morning, one of her couple of videos, an analogy popped into my head. They're like dandelions. They're like what we call weeds. There's nothing really out of place. Since God made everything, including what we call the demons and angels and jinns and whatnot, and leprechauns, what is their function? They must have a role. They must have a habitat. Same thing with it's like the dandelion. You have bare earth, and they crop up. Well, most of us, especially in America, we just rip them off thinking, oh, we'll just put more grasses and it'll be fine. No, they serve a function, and that function is to fix the nitrogen from the air to the ground so that the roots, so that the fungi that the plants cooperate with, have a symbiotic relationship with, can get the nitrogen they need. And so that's one of the things that they do. Dandelions are great at fixing atmospheric nitrogen and putting it in the soil. They can handle that low nitrogen soil. Most plants can't. But once the nitrogen level gets to a certain point, the dandelions go away. And it might very well be like with the demons. We've been all taught by Christian, particularly Christian tradition, to think in terms of fighting them. You know, go toe to toe, you fight the demons, fight the bad guys. What if we're feeding them when we do that? What if we're actually giving them a habitat that's perfect for their life form? And not even realizing we're doing it because 2,000, 1,700 years since Romanization, the Roman Empire version of the teaching of Christianity. Um, so, so my sense is it brought me the question of what is their habitat? Well, for that matter, what are the jinns? I don't know anything about that. Those are beings that are said to magical, supernatural beings that are said to in Islamic culture. Um, we don't know what their habitats are. The angels, we just know them as names and legends, and that some people claim to have seen them. That's all we really know. And part of the research I've been doing is by a fellow named Hilton Hutema, I should say, who was apparently a alternative medical researcher, and the early to middle part of the 20th century died in 1970 of an auto accident at 92. And he was very much into not just alternative health, but metaphysics, what we would call metaphysics, but what would the ancient masters know? What was the knowledge that was lost? And as an amateur armchair philosopher and anthropologist, I have been amazed at what we have lost just in the technological field. You go down to the Andes, they can make textiles better than anything that any of our modern looms can make. You look at the pyramids. You look at any of the Incan and Andean construction. Huge blocks, huge boulders, set up just perfect. Same thing with the Great Pyramid. The degree of precision we can't replicate. They've tried to do that, and every time they try, they fail because they know something we don't. Their understanding of the natural laws of nature. So with this Placendo thing with Mr. Sino's statement and the subsequent trying to figure it out, what's happened is it brings to the front part of what natural law is about. That is discovering what are the rules and interactions, not just from human to human, but from human to animal, human to plants, and if we are in fact degenerated supernatural beings that have senses in our sinuses that are supposed to at one time allowed us to see the spiritual areas, and our pineal gland, which is a very dormant organ that's what are all the ranges, what else don't we know about? I mean, our form might not even be, we might even be male, according to Hitema's research. There may have been once a bisexual, meaning that they had both male and female parts and reproduced asexually. That is without the need for male and female to mate. And if that's true, we've devolved. But that's another part of exploration of natural law. What is our real, most developed form, our developed abilities, and how do we relate to the other beings, whether they're hyperdimensional beings like angels and demons, or whether they're more dense physical beings like your plants and animals, the ecosystems. That's all we have to explore that. The elements. This is where philosophy and science, religion, spirituality, and science go together. Because the sciences help us to find out what these natural laws are. What are the principles? What are the governing guidelines? What are the operational rules in varying ranges for these different rules to work? Some are very universal and some are more specific. And that's part of the exploration. So when religionists speak against science, they're speaking against exploring God's book. When science speaks against God, they're going against the facts. I mean, there's no way you could have random permutation and have what we have. That's just not doable. But that's part of the exploration. We, as free people, will have time on our hands, not only to learn arts and crafts, music, learning how to make our own clothes. I wish I had made this, but I didn't. I bought it. How to grow our own fruit trees and nut trees and whatever plants we want for different purposes. All these things that we've forgotten, and especially in America, where you go to a store, you flip on a remote control, you change instant gratification. That's why all these snake oil salesmen with their toxic scientific poisons are on the news. But I could go on forever and ever. But my point was to bring to you this possibility that our relationship to other animals, to other beings, to other dimensions is part of the exploration of natural law. It's not really so much about court cases and about, oh, so-and-so did this, so-and-so did that. It's about exploration, looking around us, looking and seeing what is there. How do we work with it? That's natural law. Natural law is basically a spiritual philosophy. It's not just about rules and regulations like our corporate laws, which can be played with. But you can't play around and toy with natural law. It's either you follow the rules that God created the universe to be, or you don't. There's no playing around. You can't change it to suit your wants. I can't spit in the wind and have it not blow back in my face. You know, I'm going to go out in the rain, I'm going to get wet. You know, that's just the way it works. So that's the thought for now, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you for viewing. Bye-bye.